All right, guys, today I'm going to be breaking down how Dalen is taking the world by storm with his personal branding, his entrepreneurial journey, and his overall style of video. If you guys don't know who Dalen is, he's an entrepreneur from the Netherlands, but he currently is building out his business in areas such as Dubai, Hong Kong, mainland China, and Bali. Recently, he's shared that he's been able to make over 8 figures from his business, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be on track to do more. I'm also going to be sharing what I think his next moves are with his new community that he is currently building out and is soon to be launching. And so in this video, I'll be going over how he gets traffic, how he gets his warm leads, and how he converts his leads. And all of this turns into a great funnel or ecosystem that helps him print out that 8 figures a year. So let's go ahead and jump into this. All right, so Dalen is Mr. POV. If you guys have seen any videos recently with this type of thumbnail where it's like the POV background, this is the dude who started it all. And so who is Daniel? Daniel's a 27-year-old entrepreneur. He is currently in e-com fulfillment. He's from the Netherlands. He speaks Chinese, and currently he is the CEO of his business, which is EcomFlow. So a little backstory, right? Daniel grew up in the Netherlands, but spent a lot of time in China due to his dad's job. And Daniel was exposed to the world of business at a young age due to his dad's business ventures in China. And he actually started building websites around the age of 16, which has helped him to bring over 6 figures in profit early on. And fast forward a decade, and Daniel is now the CEO of his company EcomFlow and is part of many other companies as well. And these are just some of the companies he's a part of. So as you can see, this is EcomFlow right here, his main company. He also has an eyewear brand, which is called Lens. And this is just one of his other companies that he has stakes into, or he's a part of, which is actually run by one of his partners here, Cinegrams. And so I'm going to really be going over the 3 main things, as you know, any business basically has to go through, which is traffic, the warm leads, and converting those leads. First, we're going to start off with the traffic here. So the thing about Daniel is that he falls into a really particular niche. And so this niche was honestly not too big. There were some people who were in that entrepreneurship niche, or that, you know, documenting your story kind of niche. But Daniel made it really easy to watch because of his cinematic type of videos, along with the rawness or the authenticity of his videos. And so these are just some of the emojis that, you know, I thought matched Daniel's vibe as far as the type of videos he's making. So it's all about growth. It's all about online business. It's all about, you know, signing contracts and growing some more. It's all about recording everything, all about getting money, also packaging, his eyewear, and also traveling a lot. So all these things really make up what Daniel's videos are about, and he does it in such a cinematic way. And so all these things that you definitely will see in his niche all boil down to 3 things, which is business, partnerships, and authenticity. And you definitely will see this all throughout his videos. He's constantly working. He's constantly working with cool people, or people he, you know, loves to be around. And he's always real about what he talks about. And all of this narrows into a certain demographic, or ICP, those who are interested in entrepreneurship and are looking to create cool things with cool people. And so let's talk about his main platform, which is YouTube. So going over his YouTube platform here, he really focuses on 3 things, or really 2 things, but one thing here is a bonus. So he really focuses on the Dalen brand. He focuses on just the type of videos he creates. And so one thing that I think is really helping him grow on YouTube is what I call the Xiaomanyc effect. And I'll talk about that last. But as far as the Dalen brand, what makes Dalen? And so when talking about the Dalen brand, there's always some things that you see that are super consistent throughout all his videos. One of the things that you will definitely notice is his sense of style or fashion. So he's always wearing these kind of glasses that have this specific style to them. As you can see, this is one of his samples from his eyewear brand that he actually launched recently. You can see he's wearing it right here. Another thing that I think is pretty iconic is he wears this beanie a lot. He has different colors: orange, blue, brown, black, whatever, but this is basically what screams his style. And another thing that you're going to notice a lot is he associates his channel with the color orange like a ton. This is his profile picture, or kind of like his overall profile for everything he uses, no matter if it is Instagram, if it is YouTube, if it is Twitter, whatever it is, he's probably using this as his profile picture. Another thing that you're going to see that is super consistent is that he uses a wide angle lens. And this really gives him the advantage of showing us how it looks like in a first person point of view, just seeing the world how he sees it. He also speaks a lot of Chinese. You'll definitely see that a lot. And he's a big promoter of building in public, which is basically showing the world what you're currently building, even though you're not there yet. And so this is all going to tie into his brand, but this building in public piece specifically is really tying into his community that we're going to talk about later on. And so, like I mentioned earlier, Daniel Dalen is Mr. POV. Currently, his YouTube channel at the time of recording this video is at 160K subscribers. He currently has the orange profile picture here. And one thing that stays consistent through most of his videos is the thumbnail. So you could see it's usually a photo or a screen capture of him, and then it has the POV in the background. And you'll see this on like 90% of his videos. He has some videos where he goes in depth about his business a little bit more, kind of just him talking. But for most of his videos where it's like day in the life or POV, you're going to see the same thumbnail. Him, the POV in the background, and also, just having it look cinematic. And something you're also going to notice is that when he does the titles, it's all pretty similar. He always starts off with POV. He mentions his age. He mentions where he's working. And he usually mentions something along the lines of like founder or entrepreneur. As you can see, this one's entrepreneur. Sometimes he'll mention, how much he's making, like 8 figures. Or he'll mention something along the lines of like building or, doing business. And he stays pretty consistent. Another thing is that he does everything in lowercase letters unless it is the location of where he's currently recording or whatever. So like everything here, lowercase, boom, Hong Kong is capitalized because obviously that's a location. And so although Daniel does do a lot more long form content, he does have his short form content as well. And for his YouTube shorts, there's nothing too recent as far as his uploads. I believe these are like 4 to 5 months old, but they're all pretty similar. They're kind of like clips from his longer form videos. And recently he's been using this kind of style where he puts them in a frame. And what he does is he usually has a video behind it or like a famous quote behind it talking about, the struggles or basically just being a big motivator. And he puts clips of himself. So as you can see, this one is along the lines of procrastination wastes potential or whatever. Or this one is along the lines of showing up is the first, I don't know, but you get the gist of it. Basically, these videos are really just to motivate the type of entrepreneur that would be watching his videos. And so moving on from his YouTube here, I'm going to talk about the Xiaomanyc effect. I don't necessarily think this is like a real thing. I'm just kind of making it up, but it makes total sense. So Xiaoma, if you guys don't know, he's a YouTuber, and basically he has a lot of videos of him speaking different languages. And so what he does is he makes videos of him going around to places where there are many native speakers of the language that he's currently learning or that he knows very well, and he basically surprises them, and this creates viral videos. So the whole gist of it is that he's an American guy that speaks Chinese, and it's a rare thing to see. And it drives more people to be interested in the content. So as you can see in this video here, clueless American tourist busts out perfect Chinese, shocks locals, 20 million views. Clueless white guy orders in perfect Chinese, shocks patrons and staff, 92 million views. And this one's a little bit more recent. I know these ones are like 5 years ago or whatever, but this one was 5 months ago. Remote Chinese mountain town shocked to see American. 1.6 million views. But as you can see, this is a type of content that is able to create a lot of views. And I think that is why Daniel kind of stands out a little bit, because he's kind of known as the Dutch guy who speaks Chinese. In this case, Xiaoma is the American guy who speaks Chinese. And so this is why I call it the Xiaoma NYC effect. And I think this is why Daniel is able to stand out in his videos. So for example, all of these things that I just talked about, the Daniel Dalen brand, Mr. POV, and the Xiaoma NYC effect, they all go ahead and feed in to Daniel's biggest video, which currently has 850K views at the time of recording this video. And his biggest video starts with a cinematic style that's like POV, and he speaks some Chinese while ordering a coffee. Same thing as far as the thumbnail, POV, you see, his glasses, and basically just a big wide angle lens, recording him. And I feel like all of this put together is what was able to get him those, monster views at 850K. And I'll go ahead and play you guys a little clip of the first seconds of this video too.
Bro, I'm gonna need a coffee, man.
服务员，哎，您好，我要个 cappuccino。
And so going back to his YouTube channel, there's only a few links that he puts into like his YouTube description or whatever. It's just his Instagram, and it says one more link, but it's the Twitter link. And so if you go down here, basically these are the links that show up, Instagram and Twitter. And these are the next things that I'm going to be talking about because besides YouTube, he uses Instagram and Twitter. I don't believe he uses TikTok, but I'm pretty sure there are shorts accounts that are made basically just pushing out his content. And so let's go ahead and break down his Instagram. So he has 160K followers on his Instagram here, which is oddly similar to his YouTube, which is 160K. But 160K is a pretty good following, and he doesn't even have like the verified check or whatever. And what you can see is that Daniel, he uses his Instagram more to update his life through photos because that's generally what Instagram is used for. So if we look at his recent posts here, it's just small updates about his life. This is just a recent collab he had with Simon Squid. If you guys know Simon Squib, he makes like those "What are your dream" videos. And so this is at the top of Daniel's list at the time of recording this video. But as you can see, a lot of times it's just him chilling, him working, whatever, him with this dog, I guess, and him with some friends. And like I said, his IG is more just life updates through photos. And he usually shoots in film for most of these photos. So he doesn't use like an iPhone or anything like that. It's usually with a film camera. And so this is what a typical post from Daniel will look like. This one looks like it was from 31 weeks ago. It's just a picture of him and some other pictures of, him traveling or whatever. And it just says keeping it real. So that's kind of the gist of how his Instagram is set up. And he does have some Instagram Shorts accounts or Instagram Reels accounts. So as you can see, this one is Daniel Dalen Shorts. This one is Daniel Dalen Reels. I'm not too sure if this Daniel Dalen Reels account is official or not. It says official clips page, but honestly, any page can say that. But I'm pretty sure this one is legit because this one is followed by Daniel, and it has more followers. This one does not say that it's followed by Daniel at all. But, it just adds Daniel Dalen and adds to his website. And this one adds to his website as well. And so moving on to Twitter or X. So Daniel, he has about 3,000 posts, which is a pretty good amount. And then he also has 32K followers on here as well. And so through Twitter, he shares a lot more of what's going on in his business, whether it's updates or even just insights to his life where he can add a little bit more context. The thing that Twitter and Instagram, they both share is that they both share the short form content, and it's duplicated across both profiles. So as you can see, this one is from Instagram. And when I say it's from Instagram, it's actually from his actual Instagram account and not the Daniel Dalen Shorts. So that is what's being duplicated onto Twitter as well. So as you can see, these two videos here are the same exact video with the same caption or whatever. You just got lucky, the luck. You got lucky, the luck. And the same thing with this one as well. POV, you fell in love with the process. POV, you're in love with the process. So fairly similar, and it's just basically duplicating the videos on both platforms to get more reach. And so going down the list for Twitter again, X and Twitter is mainly used to showcase small updates for his business or views/opinions on the world, his personal life, and etc. And this gives an open view to the raw realities of his life. So he'll post something, motivating, such as imagine waking up knowing your potential and not chasing it. Or he'll go ahead and try to engage with the audience or, have some audience interaction. And this really builds a connection with the viewers from YouTube. And so in this post right here, he's asking the audience, I need your help again for the next video this weekend. And he basically asks which option should he pick? And then from there, they'll go ahead and comment. And this is how he really gets his audience engaged with his content. He'll also periodically give you an update on the type of businesses he's working on. So in this post, he's talking about his eyewear brand called Lens. And this was on December 15th. Talking about that it's dropping in January here. And I also mentioned earlier that Daniel was really authentic with all of his content. He's not the one to shy away from anything hard that's happening in his life, whether it's personal stuff or business stuff. And he also gives an insight about that on his social media. And so this post here, he just talks about some photos that his mom sent him. And he basically just broke down when he saw them. And he's here to share both the good and bad. And he knows that it's worth a lot sharing what happened. And so basically that's how he distributes his content. It's mainly YouTube that goes into Instagram and goes into Twitter. But within Instagram and Twitter, he mentions his website, DanielDalen.com. And that's the only website that is mentioned in both of his Instagram and Twitter description or bios or whatever. And so for those who follow him a lot and are interested more in what Daniel actually does, they'll go ahead and click on these links. And these links are going to bring them to his landing page with all of his other companies here or what he's working on basically. And so this moves on to the next piece, which is generating warm leads. And so when he generates warm leads from this DanielDalen.com, there are 5 main links. Besides his social media right here, his 5 main links are for his eyewear brand, his email list, his main business, EcomFlow, his community, and also his playlist, which I think is super interesting that he added that in there. And so for the first link, it goes to his eyewear brand, which is called Lens. And this is just the front page of where they can go ahead and purchase the glasses that they see on the videos. And so his second link is the email list, which is basically just future releases of Daniel and his products. Maybe they're freebies, and they basically just generate more trust. I don't believe that anything has really come out yet as far as the email list, but I'm pretty sure there are plans to go ahead and implement more things that are coming out, whether it's products, freebies, or just, information on different things that Daniel's basically working on. The third link here is EcomFlow, which is Daniel's main business, and this is how people who maybe have businesses themselves can go ahead and work with Daniel. Like I mentioned before, Daniel is in kind of like the ecom or like the supply chain business. And this is how companies can just go ahead and work with Daniel after seeing all the videos of him building the actual company. And so I'm actually going to leave the community for last here because I want to talk about the Spotify. The community, I'm going to break down a whole bunch of other things. So I'll leave that last because it's a bit longer. The Spotify, which I think is a genius tactic from Daniel, basically just gives an insight into what kind of music that he's using in his YouTube videos. And so this really adds to the Daniel Dalen aesthetic or personal brand, and it makes Daniel Daniel. There are a lot of songs that I've seen from Daniel's videos that I automatically hear outside of Daniel's videos, and I automatically think, oh damn, that was that song from Daniel's video that one time. And so I think adding the playlist is a genius idea because you get to listen to all of the music that is in his videos, but also listening to the type of music that he's listening kind of puts you into that entrepreneurial mood that I guess Daniel is pushing out. And so for the last portion of how he gets his leads, I'm going to talk about his community. Daniel's community here, it's really to build your business alongside a network of entrepreneurs. Basically, this is just a big space for a bunch of like-minded people to get together, bounce off ideas from each other, and ultimately even work with each other once they get to that point. And so for Daniel's community, it's currently being hosted on School. His community basically revolves around this idea of building in public, and that's what he called it. Building in Public by Daniel Dalen. And the reason why I believe he picked school is because school is all about building, online community, money making, entrepreneurship, knowledge, and basically all of that wrapped up into one platform. I think that's the reason why he went with it, as opposed to maybe like Telegram or Discord, because obviously those have kind of like a different background or aesthetic to them. For example, when I think of Discord, I think of something like gaming, and I'm pretty sure that's not the style that Daniel was going for when he wanted to build a community. And so I basically created everything that revolves around building in public, basically the foundations. And I just created this small web chart. So the things that I noticed about building in public is that it's super network focused. It's all about documenting the journey. There's a bunch of diverse backgrounds and experiences. A lot of these entrepreneurs are currently building a business. They're all brought together by personal branding. They make the boring stuff look cool. And I put this in quotes because Daniel mentions this a lot, kind of like embracing the long days, just getting to the work. And one thing that Daniel has implemented within his community is just awarding engagement. So as you can see, there's different levels, and to get to these different levels, you have to create posts, and you level up by people either commenting or liking on your posts. And this just gives a good reason for people to engage with the community more and just start conversations on whatever business topics that they may have. And so looking at school, and you look at the classroom portion of school here, there's 5 kind of like modules. 2 of them are actually not available. It says coming soon, but basically the ones that are available are the Follow the Journey module, the Call Recordings module, and the Q&A modules. And all 3 of these are kind of limited as far as what kind of content is on there, but there's still a good amount of things that you can learn from. So for the Follow the Journey, he basically has a whole bunch of his vlogs here that you can go ahead and watch. But the module also has kind of like this Blank Studio building in public. I believe Blank Studio was a business that Daniel was running, but he hasn't been promoting it as much recently. So I'm guessing that he kind of dropped it off. But these are basically like 3 episodes that show them building the actual business in public, and just having a live call with the members that have their hands in it. And it gives you the inside look of how these companies are actually working out their products and their systems. And when you look at the community calls, you'll notice that there are only 3 on there. This is between the times of May to June, but when you look at the calendar, you will see that there are calls that happen either like weekly, monthly, or bi-weekly. And I'm guessing they just don't go ahead and record it and put it on to watch later on for whatever reason. But I watched a bit of the community call here, and it's really cool to see all of these, entrepreneurs that are up and coming kind of bounce ideas off of each other, seeing what works for them, seeing what doesn't, talking about different topics, whether it's like sales, lead generation, things like that. And it's just a big brainstorm, if that makes sense. And so the last module here is just Q&As, and this basically just has one video. It's just a Q&A that Daniel put out on Instagram, basically just him replying to a few questions that were asked. And so when you look at everything that's in the classroom, you might think like this is super limited as far as what they are providing, but Daniel is actually moving everything over to WHOP. So this was 15 days ago from the time of recording this video, but basically they announced that they're moving over to WHOP, and basically the community is going to be growing a lot more there. And so they mentioned that you can go ahead and activate your membership with this link here. And once you get onto WHOP, this is basically what it shows. There's going to be announcements, advice, the community, travel, lifestyle, a members chat, a knowledge center, community events, suggestions, live calls, and other links. So I'm pretty sure there are a lot of things to come, and I'm guessing this is how Daniel is going to generate a lot of warm leads that are going to be ready to go ahead and purchase whatever he's going to be offering. And so now that we mentioned his community, let's go ahead and see how he's going to go and convert the leads. And the thing is, Daniel, he really does services and products, but there is potential for a future high ticket offer that I think he's going to release. And so I know that he's mentioned in some of his videos that he would not do like a mentorship, but I feel like there is more to that. And I honestly think there's huge potential for Daniel here. He can definitely go ahead and provide like a high ticket service where he helps up and coming entrepreneurs who are trying to, let's just say, build in public. And seeing the success that he has gotten just from like a year or so of consistently posting, a lot of people are definitely going to want to follow up on that and learn from him. And so let's talk about the businesses that he currently is a part of right now. So let's talk about his eyewear company here, which is called Lens. After receiving an outpouring of comments in his videos from people asking about the glasses, he decided to basically create Lens to meet the demand. And so this is just one of the products that he has. I think this is the only product that he has, actually. I know he's probably going to be dropping some more. As you can see, this is drop 001. And there's different colors. There's this transparent color, and then there's like the black color here. And this is, basically how he's going to be creating a source of income from this product here. And this is a limited drop for the glasses, and it's really building scarcity and exclusivity. It's a limited drop of just 2,000 pairs, and also it's 1,000 pairs for the transparent and yellow and 1,000 pairs for the black and yellow. And Lens is 100% using EcomFlow for their shipping, so this is going to be used as a case study later on for his company EcomFlow. And this is just building more social proof for the main business. And so with talking about EcomFlow, this is really his e-com fulfillment business. And he's been working on this for a while now. He does have like the online side of things, but when you watch his videos, he has a whole warehouse where he keeps inventory, and it's growing pretty quickly because he has mentioned that his company is currently crossing over that 8-figure mark. And yeah, it looks like it's doing really good for him. And so I don't know like the full specifications of what the business actually does, but here's a little breakdown of what it could do. So basically the rundown of the business is that going through EcomFlow, you should be able to save a ton of money on a bunch of things such as processing fees, storage, warehousing, the shipping fees. And this is like the traditional cost versus EcomFlow, and it shows that you're almost able to save half the amount of money. And so let's just say you're a business that wants to work with Daniel and EcomFlow. You can go ahead, and this is just the front page here. Click on the Work With Us button. That'll take you to this page saying welcome to EcomFlow. And basically it's just going to be a quick questionnaire to see if you guys are a good fit for each other. It should take about 3 minutes, and you just click on the Let's Start button right here. So once you do that, fill out the questionnaire, basic information such as name, last name, email, some other stuff, just the contact info, your business info, your niche, and also your product info. And if you do meet the criteria, it'll say something along the lines of congratulations, and then you can go ahead and chat with their team on WhatsApp. And once you get to this point, you'll be in contact with one of their representatives, and you guys will basically just chop it up on how you guys can work with each other. And so once you get to that point, it'll basically just be a business partnership between your brand or product and their e-commerce services. And I'm guessing how it works is there is a startup fee and a small revenue share, or a small fee to be using their systems. And so lastly, I want to talk about the future high ticket offer, or potential offer. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but this is what I think is going to be happening moving forward. So since they are going to be moving over to WHOP, and they are going to be pushing out the building in public kind of branding, I think there's going to be a big space for Daniel to make a lot of money here. And this is how I see it happening. Either it could go high ticket or low ticket. And so if you go the low ticket way, it'll be through a community, kind of like a free community, or maybe a small paid community of like $50 a month. And basically you're going to have access to things such as the course, the resources, weekly calls, forums, discussions, topics, meet and greets, all these things. And this is going to be mainly towards aspiring entrepreneurs. And through the low ticket community, I believe Daniel is going to go ahead and promote some sort of high ticket offer. And this is going to be geared towards people who are making like a minimum of like 20K or so, or I don't know the minimums that he's going to set, but let's just say he wants business owners who are doing a minimum of 20K a month. And this is for a stronger community, and this is for businesses that are looking to scale to 100K a month. And I think this is going to have everything here, in here, but more exclusive, and it's going to include some masterminds. So maybe some in-person events where Daniel talks about some new things that are happening within his market. And for the price, I honestly think he should be able to charge an easy like 5K. And honestly, even if he does like a 10K offer or plus, I think he'll easily be able to sell it to multiple people. And so honestly, he's going to get a lot of clients from this. He's going to get some good money. People are going to be wanting to work with him or learn from him. And he's going to be sitting on a fat stack of cash. And so that was pretty much the breakdown of how Daniel Dalen is able to make over 8 figures at his age of 27. And if you guys are interested in how you guys can implement a system that is similar to this, whether it's through a funnel or, just a full-on ecosystem of how things tie into each other, feel free to go ahead and send a DM to me on Instagram. My link is down below, and I look forward to talking to you guys there.